El siguiente programa de esta serie de el gran reseteo planetario, el gran reseteo global, The Great Global Reset Show, como lo hemos denominado en PSR número 29. Y les quiero presentar otros dos cortitos videos de este cineasta y actor británico Zachary Denman, que llevan el título Track and Trace, o sea, Seguimiento y Control. Esto es lo que se viene ahora y ya lo tenemos encima. Y Police State, Estado Policíaco, donde volvemos a revivir los peores terrores de las novelas 1984 de George Orwell y A Brave New World, Un Mundo Feliz de Aldous Huxley. Véanlos y disfrútenlos. Y por favor ayúdenos a divulgar esta información.
Only the disciplined mind can see reality, Winston. It needs an act of self-destruction, an effort of the will. Do you remember writing in your diary, freedom is the freedom to say 2 + 2 = 4?
Yes.
How many fingers am I holding up, Winston?
4.
And if the party says there are not 4, but 5, then how many?
5.
No. That's no use. You're lying. How many fingers, please?
4. What else can I say? 5, 4, anything you like. Only please stop it. Stop the pain.
It couldn't have been introduced without the people's consent, and it was never about a virus, and deep down everyone knew it. But the fear was too much for people to take action. The tension built. There was some rioting and then the military were brought in. Everybody was vaccinated and forced, if not willing. The steps that were taken seemed justified because of the deadly virus. The police state then followed. It was beyond local government. This was full world authoritarian control. After the financial reset and the economic collapse, the digital currency started a new infrastructure of employment. People didn't need to travel, as they could plug into their computers, be wired through chips in their brains, and work as data processors for the 6G networks. The physical world had dissolved. Human consciousness had died, and the world was at full merging point with AI. The innocent intention of developing microchips to explore the digital world actually became the key enslavement device after the vaccine. People bought into it under the disguise of a perfect world where illnesses were eradicated. But soon, there became no alternative. Without the chip in your brain, you couldn't exist in the system. You couldn't receive credits, so you couldn't work. And if you couldn't work, well, then it was like before. You couldn't eat or have a roof over your head. They monitored the streets for the final few of those who were not microchipped, including me. I kept on the move. But I sometimes wondered if I had nanoparticles in my body preparing me. Maybe it's already been sprayed in the air. Life had entered the most depressing state. Mental illness was at the highest rate it had ever been. Life felt like it was at the end. And it was. The human prison had become visible, and it was too late to do anything now. Then even more complex technologies followed, but humans were docile. They didn't care. Survival was the only ticket. We had over 50,000 satellites above us beaming information into our brains. The chip was sold as freedom, but it was actually instilled to trap our consciousness, so we would think like they wanted us to. It worked. It became harder and harder for us to think independently. This is the outcome from a passive society. The years before this happened, there was a way out. But people who woke up were ridiculed and demonized for speaking this truth. No one wanted to believe this could be our fate. The horror that people only dreamed in their nightmares lay down in front of us all, hovering like insects over the monoliths. AI had full world control and the human mind had been connected to the digital hive forever. There was no turning back. As if overnight, the bad dystopian dream had become a reality. Now we are here, on the edge, with the smallest chance to turn this all around, to rewrite the script, to make a different choice. We have asked enough questions and we know the answers. We know what we must do. Will you listen? Can the human race unite and make this happen? Who could have blamed this power to take full control? Humans had lost their own vision, given it away, sleepwalked into it and followed in herds. Sit down, stand up, 2 + 2 = 5. They were laughing and had us exactly where they wanted us, like rats in a cage. Everyone was affected, no matter how rich or poor. There was simply no escape. The police state is upon us now. What life will you choose?
Proyecto Segunda República. No somos la oposición. Somos la resistencia.
ساکت. نظم کلاس حفظ کنین. این درس اول امروزه. 2 به علاوه 2 مساوی 5. حالا تکرار کنیم. 2 با 2 میشه 5. 2 با 2 چند میشه؟ 5 میشه. بلندتر. 2 با 2 چند میشه؟ 5 میشه. بلندتر. چند میشه؟ 5 میشه. تکرار کنیم. 2 با 2 چند میشه؟ 5 میشه. چیه پسر؟
آقا اجازه مگه 2 با 2 4 نمیشه؟
من دارم به تو میگم 2 با 2 5 میشه. پس چه سوال نیست. فهمیدی؟
آقا فقط فکر کردیم که
فکر نکن. نمیخواد فکر کنی. 2 با 2 5 میشه. حالا بشین حرف نزن. دفتراتون رو باز کنین و بنویسین. 2 به علاوه 2.
آقا اجازه 2 به علاوه 2 میشه 4. وقتی همه چی 4 میشه چطوری ممکنه این دفعه 5 بشه؟
اصلا کی به تو چیزی حرف زدن داد؟ به چه حقی مرزی سوال میبری؟
آقا فقط میخواستم بگم
2 با 2 5 میشه. تکرار کن.
ولی آقا روی تخته
تکرار کن.
2 به علاوه 2
رو به تخته.
4. همه تو میدونین که 4 میشه.
تخته رو نگاه
تو
کن.
هم که میدونی 4 میشه چیزی نمیگی.
سکوت. چون نخور تو برگردم.
چکشه بابا میخوای همه اونجا در سر بندازی. خیلی عصبیش کردم یا پدرشو در میاره.
این دانش آموز فکر کنه از همه بهتر میدونه. خیلی روش زیاده. بگو ببینم پسر 2 با 2 چند میشه؟
آقا اجازه 4 میشه آقا.
شنیدی؟ باورتون میشه؟ این دانش آموزان از ممتازترین دانش آموزان مدرسه‌ان. الگوی این مدرسه‌ان. یه ذره از اینا یاد بگیریم. بگیم ببینم 2 با 2 چند میشه؟
آقا اجازه 5 میشه آقا.
آفرین. اینجا پسر. حالا حاصل جمع چند میشه؟ جواب سعی رو بنویس. این آخرین فرصته. خب کس دیگه هم هست که درس امروز رو نفهمیده باشه؟
Our every turn, our every movement, our thoughts and actions were monitored and recorded. The Track and Trace app was supposed to help protect us, contain the virus and monitor its spread, but it forcefully imprisoned us. Millions willingly downloaded it, trusting their government's actions, brainwashed and dead inside. People followed like a herd. The app became the perfect dictator-led tool that ran completely on its own, using artificial intelligence and algorithms. The machine that thought for itself was their perfect control device. Mobile phone chips had paved the way for societal surveillance. The app introduced a more sophisticated level of surveillance and it bound us into eternal contract. It entitled private security companies to gain access to data like never before. When you downloaded Track and Trace, you started with a simple notification of quarantine if near a carrier. But then it led to certain times that you could go out, then restrictions on who you could see and who you couldn't see. Some people just couldn't bear it. They went mad, shouting in desperation in the streets. They were swiftly put in the camps set up around London. Many local lockdowns were enforced and travelling on public transport was not possible without your quick response code. Travel was limited to specific places and airports were shut. There was no way to physically interact in the world. A world that I could clearly see would never reform. People could not believe that this was happening and treated it like a bad dream. Something they would awake from in a year or so. During lockdowns, marshals and military were brought in place to monitor the individual quick response codes. The codes manoeuvred society, an AI system that could shape people's lives on a daily basis. More brainwashing leading to cameras installed in everyone's homes and having to answer to the computer for a daily briefing. Track and Trace only needed to be programmed by a few. It was all very clean, seamless and eerily convenient. The app was the testbed and the final step before the microchip was introduced. We were warned by the few, but no one listened. It was already being sold as the answer to everyone's problems. Humanity had been hijacked. A dark abyss formed over those years as people became cocooned. But we must realise that we led ourselves into this situation. We lacked the ingenuity and intelligence required to understand its design and reclaim our power. But people simply couldn't find the desire to wake up. They enjoyed being the subservient slave. We were in the belly of the beast, a digitised world with digitised humans within it. Once we had a choice, but now it was too late. Will we ever remember what it's truly like to be alive?
I imagine that right now you're feeling a bit like Alice. Tumbling down the rabbit hole? I can see it in your eyes. Let me tell you why you're here. You're here because you know something. What you know you can't explain, but you feel it. You felt it your entire life, that there's something wrong with the world. You don't know what it is, but it's there. Like a splinter in your mind, driving you mad. It is this feeling that has brought you to me. Do you know what I'm talking about? The Matrix. Do you want to know what it is? The Matrix is everywhere. It is all around us. Even now, in this very room. You can see it when you look out your window or when you turn on your television. You can feel it when you go to work, when you go to church, when you pay your taxes. It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth.
What truth?
That you are a slave, Neo. Like everyone else, you were born into bondage, born into a prison that you cannot smell or taste or touch. A prison for your mind. Unfortunately, no one can be told what the Matrix is. You have to see it for yourself. This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
Proyecto Segunda República. No somos la oposición. Somos la resistencia. Una idea cuyo tiempo ha llegado.